Hey, welcome to the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. It is morning. It is 9 a.m. on Saturday, and the puppies are sleeping in. I bet you're wondering what happened yesterday. I did draw some boundaries yesterday. I was full of anxiety yesterday, full of anxiety. I could not focus on anything. Like, I just kept thinking, like, this is the shit that I used to drink about. Like, this uncomfortable feeling of not wanting to face something that I need to face. Any of you who don't have that kind of anxiety may not understand the all-consuming nature of it, but something as simple as confronting somebody where I need to draw a boundary is terrifying. Um, so it's progress, not perfection with me. That's what I learned from my program is that it's okay to not have days where I don't feel perfect. Yesterday was really difficult, and it was all between my ears. Nothing happened yesterday other than the very, very loud self-talk I was having, which was just like, you got to get yourself out of this. You know, why are you letting this I was almost beating myself up a little bit about the fact that such a small issue as as somebody kind of imposing on me to do things that I don't want to do was just debilitating. It really was. I mean, that's the degree of the anxiety that I felt yesterday about needing to draw a boundary with somebody. So what ended up happening is I went over to the woman's house. You'll have to listen to yesterday's podcast if you're not sure what I'm talking about, but I went over there to say, this is too much for me. I I appreciate you and I want to be helpful to you, but I have to put my own health first. And this level of interaction is too much for me. I had really, really terrible symptoms yesterday, and I think it was because of that anxiety. And it could very well have been from the few days of me interacting on a higher level with people than I have been used to in my recovery. Remember, it's hard for me to even sit in a room and talk to somebody. It hurts my head. It just does. It's difficult to explain that to anyone, much less somebody who English is not their first language. So I was really anxious about it. So I went over there to draw my boundary, and nobody answered the door. So I came back home, and really what I was thinking was, oh, I have to sit with this anxiety until I can take action. And I looked back over there, and the woman's son was over there. So I went back over, put my hat and my glasses on, and I went back over and I said, can I talk to you? This is too much for me. I can't help your mother to this degree. I have to put my own health first. So it was a very quick conversation. It was almost like he didn't even need me to finish my sentence. He just was saying, I get it. I'll talk to her. I'll talk to her. So that was it. So immediately I went home. I wanted to cry. And the reason why I wanted to cry, as I've gotten to know myself a little better over the past years of sobriety, is because my chemicals had gone wacko all day long. So when I finally got to the point where I took action, it was a sense of relief that I wanted to cry because I felt bad that I had to do that. I felt guilty. I felt bad that I'm not willing because that was really what I was trying to do the previous days was be willing. And until it got to the point where the willingness, the turning off my wanter was putting me in a position that was unhealthy for me, period. It just was. So was a really, I think, healthy experiment for me to see that there is a limit to my willingness. There's a limit to turning off my wanter and showing up. Um, because I'm showing up for me today. That's what I have to do. I have to be selfish. I have to make sure that in this recovery, I'm putting my own health first. And it was shifting. It was shifting to the point that I was putting this other woman's recovery first. And I can't do that. I can't do that. It's kind of like when I'm sponsoring another person in sobriety, I have to put my own sobriety first. And I did have um, a time when it's happened a couple times when I was sponsoring and the individual was not ready to stop drinking. And that constant relapsing was showing me, um, inadvertently, like showing me that, oh, people can go back out and drink and then come back again, and they're still living. It started to make me think that that was an option for me to go out and drink, and then I'll just come back to the program. That's what they're all doing, and that's not okay. And so that too was this line, this boundary that I had to draw where yeah, I want to be willing. I want to be helpful in sobriety. I want to sponsor people. But when my willingness and turning off my wanter shifts over to being something that's exposing me to something that's unhealthy for my sobriety, I have to draw the line. And so with this neighbor of mine, it was not inhibiting or risking my sobriety. It was risking my head symptoms and that kind of stuff. So I did it. I today's the first day where we'll see if she comes over here and knocks on my door or something like that. So there might be a little more boundary that I'm going to have to draw. We'll see. Hopefully not. Hopefully her son expressed to her the degree to which I'm just unwell and I can't do that. So we'll see if he expressed that to her effectively. Um, but what I was thinking about this morning in both of my meetings were uh, how bad do you want it? That's what stood out to me this morning. We we read from the daily reflection, and what I heard was God, 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 higher power, serenity. And then right in the middle of that, I heard, how bad do you want it? And so I don't know what the reading was about. All I heard was that. And then we read from How It Works, which is a traditional reading from the Alcoholics Anonymous program. And I heard it again. I heard, how bad do you want it? And, maybe it's because of what I was dealing with yesterday, but it sent me back to when I was in early sobriety and I wasn't in early sobriety. I had not stopped drinking yet. And I was going to meetings and when I think back to how bad did I want it, well, I can tell you I didn't want it. I didn't want to be sober. And so, of course, I wasn't sober. And when I saw people in the meetings that were happy, smiling, I was like, they're lying. You know, I didn't believe that stopping drinking was going to give me that. I didn't think that I needed to stop drinking. I didn't think my problem was that bad. I believed that AA was going to help me drink better, help me with managing my drinking. And I was blind. I was completely blind. When I went to detox for the first time, when I recognized that my drinking was bad and I needed help, but I still did not believe or think that it was possible for me to quit drinking altogether. I didn't think that that was achievable, and I still didn't think it was necessary. What I thought was that I needed help to manage the craving. If I could just get that craving under control, is what I thought. And so, because again, I didn't want it, um, I didn't stop drinking. So I did for 2 months. I think it was about 2 months when I got out of detox, and I finally reached the point after a couple months that I was like, I can't do this for the rest. I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life. I couldn't fathom not drinking for the rest of my life. So if I'm going to drink, I might as well drink. So that's what I did. And then 8 months later, I recognized that I was right back to where I was before. I don't think I ever missed a beat, honestly. And I recognized that if I don't stop drinking, I'm going to die. And I mentioned that in my social media post this week about that that risk of me picking up a drink is equal to the risk of me dying. If I drink, I will die. I'm certain of it. I'm 100% certain of it. I think in the beginning of sobriety, I saw that it was possible that I was going to die if I kept drinking, but I don't know that I really believed it until my friend passed away 3 years ago. Then I knew for sure that because him and I were on the same path. And if I had kept going, I would have died also. And if I were to pick up a drink now, like my disease would pick up right where it left off and I would die. Um, so I went into detox the second time, not wanting to die. And I wanted that bad. Uh, so how bad did I want it? I was willing to do whatever it took to live. That's what it was like for me. That's what it was sounding like in my own self-talk was that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to live. It wasn't I'm willing to do whatever it takes to not drink, to be sober. It was I'm willing to do whatever it takes to live. And so that's what I did, They told me in that detox facility what I needed to do. And they gave me the suggestions. They call them suggestions, but for me it was I need to do every single one of them in order to live because I tried it the first time doing it my way and I was going to die. So in order to live, I needed to see an addiction counselor. I needed to go to meetings. I needed to go to IOP, outpatient program. I needed to get a sponsor and I needed to read the literature, like you name it. I needed to build a network of people that I could rely on. And this stuff didn't happen like overnight. it took me time to find meetings that I felt comfortable at, that I felt like I was around people like me. I mean, every meeting I went to, there were people like me, but it took some time for me to get to meetings where the people that were in there were, had similar backgrounds of mine, had similar experiences as me, had children, had a career, had significant others. And when I was able to listen to shares from people that were expressing my same story almost, that was when I knew that I was home. And that took work. It took work, but that was how bad I wanted to live. I wanted to live bad enough that I was willing to go the extra mile, to go online and search for meetings that are available to me during the time that I was not working, because I was trying to hold a full-time job. I wanted to live bad enough that I was willing to drive an hour and a half to commute to work, work for 4 hours, leave to go to IOP for, I don't know, 2.5 hours. I don't remember how long it was. 3 hours, I think I was gone from work, drive back to work, work for 4 more hours, drive home another hour and a half. And on the way home, I would stop at what's known as Club 12 in Leesburg, Virginia. And I would stop there and listen to a meeting and share for another hour. I was willing to do whatever it took to live. And that also meant that I needed to build an understanding of my higher power. And this was something that was scary to me because I had experienced a lot of different opinions, exposed to a lot of different things that were related to people believing or not believing in God. And I didn't want to face all of that. I wanted to just I didn't want to talk about it because I was afraid that people would think that I was crazy. If I started to convert over to having an understanding of God, not only having an understanding of God, but starting to pray to my understanding of God, building a higher power. I wouldn't even say the word God because I was so uncomfortable with it. But I was willing to do whatever it took to live. And man, that is why I'm still here. That was what it took for me. And what I'm thinking about today is that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to keep my serenity. And that's what the past few days have been about. That's what yesterday was about the fact that I have been uncomfortable and I have been doing things against my will. And I have to know what is God's will and what is my will. And when do they align and when do they not align? Well, I don't have any freaking clue. I can't tell you um, from one day to the next, like, oh, okay, I must do this. This is God's will for me. I don't know. I have no idea. But I can tell you what my experience has been like over the past week. And that is that when this woman crossed paths with me and she started talking to me about her recovery um, from cancer, I thought, I did think, oh, this is God's will for me, that I needed to meet this person and I needed to be helpful and open and willing to help her. Um, and within 48 hours, it became it became something that was inhibiting my own recovery. And my thoughts about what God's will for me was or is in this situation changed. Um, I started thinking, nope, that is not God's will. God's will is for me to be brave and know when I need to protect my boundaries and protect my recovery. That's what this is all about. So, to be honest with you, I have no freaking clue what God's will is for me. But what I know is that I'm always seeking the next right thing. And when I recognize that this is not the next right thing for me, then I stand up and I say, no, this is not the next right thing for me. The next right thing is to protect my recovery. And honestly, up until today, I have not been so adamant about protecting my stroke recovery. I haven't, because I haven't been put in the position where somebody is forcing themselves into that position where they're inhibiting my stroke recovery. And so I stood up this week and I said, that's enough. That's enough. This is not healthy for me. And I see that. I see today where the line is. I see that this type of interaction is increasing my symptoms no matter how bad I want to be willing, no matter how bad I want to be helpful to another suffering person. I still have to put my recovery first. And that's what I've learned. That's what I've learned this week is how bad do I want it? How bad do I want to be okay? How bad do I want to take care of myself for my own health, for my own serenity? And I recognize how bad I wanted it this week. So that has been an important lesson for me. Whether it's God's will or not, I don't know. But I can tell you that um, I have been given the choice to make decisions that protect me from things that I feel are unhealthy for me. And that's what I have followed this week. So hopefully, hopefully this experience has been a lesson for not just me. That's why I share about it, so that if you can get anything out of that, it'll help you the next time you need to draw your boundaries or know how bad do you want it? You know, how bad do you want what is good for you? So that's what I got today. Thanks so much for showing up for me and for yourself. I'll talk to you tomorrow.